Welcome to the Explainer. Today we are talking about a part of your brain that's, get this, about the size of an almond. But don't let its size fool you. This tiny region is the absolute master controller of your entire internal world. It's small, yeah, but it is so mighty. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it runs the whole show. I mean, really think about it. That feeling when you just have to get a glass of water, it feels so simple, doesn't it? But what's really happening is you're getting a direct, high-priority command from an incredibly sophisticated control center that is constantly, and I mean constantly, monitoring everything going on inside you. And, yep, you guessed it, that control center is the hypothalamus. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to properly meet this control center. Then, we'll dive into its super important relationship with its right-hand man, the pituitary gland. We'll check out the different ways it sends out its messages, and then we'll tie it all together to see why this little structure is so critical for, well, pretty much everything you do. Okay, let's jump right in. The best way to think about the hypothalamus, it's the CEO of your body. Seriously, its number one job is to make sure the entire company, all your internal systems, are running smoothly and in perfect harmony. Its whole mission really boils down to one key idea: homeostasis. It sounds complicated, but it just means keeping your internal environment stable and balanced. You're too hot, it cools you down. Too cold, it warms you up. Dehydrated, it makes you thirsty. The hypothalamus is the one that spots the problem and kicks off the solution. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Its job isn't just about physical stuff like temperature. It also partners up with the limbic system, that's your brain's emotional hub, to help manage things like our instincts and our feelings. So it's not just a thermostat, you know? It's deeply connected to how we feel and why we act the way we do. So how does this CO actually send out its memos to the rest of the body? Well, it does it through its crucial partnership with the pituitary gland. And what's wild is that the pituitary isn't just one gland, it's two. And the hypothalamus talks to each one in a completely different way. And you can see the two systems right here. On one side, you have the posterior pituitary. This thing is basically a piece of the brain that's just extended downwards. Think of it like a direct phone line. Nerve fibers run straight from the hypothalamus right into it. Easy. But the anterior pituitary? Totally different story. It actually grew up from the roof of your throat when you were developing, and it's connected by a special network of blood vessels. This isn't a phone line. This is more like a super exclusive courier service. And this courier service is just incredible. It's what's known as a portal system. All that means is it's a closed loop of tiny little blood vessels that picks up hormones directly from the hypothalamus and drops them off right at the anterior pituitary's doorstep. The message doesn't have to travel through your whole body first. It's a private, highly efficient delivery route for chemical commands. Okay, so now let's focus on that direct phone line. What kinds of messages is the hypothalamus sending through this direct neural link to the posterior pituitary? The whole process is just so elegant. Check it out. First, the hormones are actually made up in the hypothalamus itself. Then they get sent down those long nerve fibers. They're then stored at the very ends of those nerves inside the posterior pituitary, kind of like packages waiting at a loading dock. And finally, when the hypothalamus sends the electrical signal, boom, they get released right into your bloodstream to do their job. And who are the star players on this direct line? Two absolute heavy hitters. First up, you've got vasopressin, which you might also know as ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. Its whole purpose is to tell your kidneys to hang on to water. It's a huge part of managing hydration. The other one is oxytocin, which you've probably heard of, and it has major roles to play with the uterus and in lactation. All right, let's switch gears and talk about that other system now. This is the more complex relationship with the anterior pituitary, the one that gets its orders not from nerves, but through that special blood delivery service we mentioned. So to talk to the anterior pituitary, the hypothalamus sends out these special messengers called hypophysiotropic hormones. They're basically little instruction notes. Some are releasing hormones, which are like a green light telling the anterior pituitary, go, release your hormone. Others are inhibiting hormones, which are a red light, saying stop, hold back for now. Now, don't get overwhelmed by all the names on this table. Just look at the pattern here, because it shows you how incredibly precise this system is. For every major function, stress, metabolism, growth, reproduction, the hypothalamus has a specific go signal, and sometimes a specific stop signal. It's not just yelling orders into the void, it's sending a very specific memo to a very specific department. It's a perfect chain of command. So we've gotten into the mechanics, right? The phone lines, the courier systems. But let's zoom back out for a second. Why does any of this actually matter to you in your day-to-day life? Let's circle all the way back to where we started, that feeling of being thirsty. It's not just your body saying, hey, I'm low on water. No, it's way cooler than that. When you get dehydrated, it kicks off a chain reaction called the renin-angiotensin system, which sends a very specific chemical signal directly to your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus receives this message and goes, aha, I know what to do. It then makes you feel thirsty, while at the same time releasing vasopressin to tell your kidneys to save every drop of water they can. It's this beautiful, perfectly coordinated response. So when you really put it all together, you see that the hypothalamus is the ultimate master integrator. It's the central hub that's keeping your body's chemistry and your temperature perfectly balanced. It's the puppet master of your entire hormonal system. It drives fundamental behaviors like thirst, and it even plugs into your emotions and instincts. It does it all. So the next time you feel thirsty, or you shiver because you're cold, or even feel a sudden wave of emotion, just take a second to appreciate that tiny, unseen CEO deep in your brain that is working 24/7 to keep you and your entire internal world in perfect balance.